Again, the aim of the webinar is to give you an overview of Atlas.ti as a qualitative data analysis workbench, right? That is my email address, ani.monirah@atlas.ti.com. At any time after the session today, you feel like you want to give a feedback or you have some questions or concerns you want to raise about Atlas.ti in general, you can simply shoot me an email and I will be very happy to assist you however I can, right? Now, a little bit the background of the Atlas.ti software. Meanwhile, if you are thinking that you want to get a copy of these slides, for those who have joined in, we have a couple of attendees who have just joined in. I would like to remind you that at the Hands Out tab of the GoToWebinar control panel, you will find these very PowerPoint slides. Okay, I have uploaded them just now so that you can refer to it afterwards. Now, the software. It is developed by a company which is based in Berlin, Germany, and our first commercial release came out in 1993. At the moment, we have both Atlas.ti for version Windows and also for Mac interface. The Windows version has been around for more than 20 years, so we are in currently version 7.5. For Mac version, we are approaching to 1 year old because it was launched September 2014. Okay? It's gonna be its first anniversary next month. Okay, version 1.0 is the current version, so you might have heard that we are launching version 8 for the Windows version towards the end of the year today. The end of this year. Okay, and that is talking about the desktop version. We also have Atlas.ti Mobile for iPad and also Android, so that you can just go to App Store or Play Store of your iPad or Android. You key in Atlas.ti and you will be prompted with an option for the Atlas.ti mobile app. It was developed to facilitate mobile data collection and data analysis. So you can simply add audio files, video files, PDF documents, or textual documents, your qualitative data, you want to add them to the Atlas.ti mobile app, and you can analyze them on the iPad and also Android. But for more features, you might want to consider exploring the desktop version, which is the Windows version that we are going to discuss today in this very webinar. Now, what is Atlas.ti? Okay, I have given the background just now, but the Atlas.ti is the software that we install onto our computers. Whatever projects that we create using the Atlas.ti software, we call it using hermeneutic unit. Okay, or in short, we call it as a HU. So you will see on your screen here, hermeneutic unit is the full form for the Atlas.ti project, and in short, we call it as a HU. Now, a HU works as a container or a workbench which contains multiple objects or features which can facilitate our qualitative data analysis process. Now, DHU does not do the analysis for us. That is very important for me to emphasize here. The software does not do the analysis for us, but simply it provides avenues or features that we can use for our qualitative data analysis. Now, what are some of the objects that are contained in the issue? Number one, in short, we call it as PDs, or in full, we call it as primary documents. Primary documents are source documents that we want to analyze. Now, if you have audio files, textual files, video files, images, so they are called as primary documents in Atlas.ti. You have 10 audio files, it's going to be 10 primary documents, plus another 10 textual documents. Now you're going to have 20 primary documents in the issue. What do you want to do with this issue, with these primary documents? You're going to identify important segments in the data, okay, and we call them as quotes or quotations. Quotations are data segments or parts of the data that you find to be analyzed, to be important for your research. Now, these quotations, they can be linked to other objects. For example, in a hard copy document, you hold that document and you do a certain highlighting on one paragraph, for example. That is what we call as quotation. But what is it about that highlighting that you have done, the highlighting yellow in color, for example? Because that paragraph talks about a specific code. It talks about the history or development of a certain concept that you are investigating. So you put on the right hand side of that highlighted segment, you put it as history or development. That is what we call as codes. Codes, C-O-D-E-S. Codes or tagging or labeling. Okay, you label that quotation. Now, quotations can also be linked to memos. Memos are spaces for reflection that a researcher will put their interpretation, their understanding, or their critical analysis, or their statements in relation to that quotation. Okay, for example, or memos can also be standalone. For example, this is my aha moment. This is my ideas, my research diary, my to-do list, for example. Now, next component, we call it as families, right? Families are like folders. They are compilation of certain other objects. For example, we can have PD family to indicate that there are two PD family in my research. One PD family is for interviews and the other PD family is for survey data. Why do I segmentize my primary documents into two families? Is because I want to see the pattern of discussion in family A as opposed to family B. If you don't put them according to families, it's going to be quite difficult for you to reach a conclusion. What are the similarities and differences among each of your documents? Now, networks is the last component of a HU. Although you can only see 6 in front of you now, they are actually the main ones. We also have other features surrounding each of these objects, which I will be showing you in the software in a short while. Okay, now the issue is the container or the project itself, which contains a lot of other objects. Right, before we go to this dialog, I wish to show you the interface of our Atlas.ti software. I'm going to click on the icon here. Oops, okay, I have promised to uh, make it in, sorry, this webinar is supposed to be in English language. I accidentally opened the Spanish interface. This is the correct one. Okay, now this is the interface of the Atlas.ti software. So if you will see on top here, it is the first bar, we call it as the toolbar, the menu bar, which contains a lot of other menus. So when you click on each and every one of these, you will get a lot more features. The second layer here, we call it as the toolbar, and also on the left hand side here, these are the shortcuts to some of the main features that you normally deal with when you go to the menu segment, right? Now the third layer here are the managers. These buttons or the drop down menus, they actually help us to uh, manage our objects. Okay, what objects? For example, PDocs or primary documents. When you click on the button primary documents, it will open a manager for primary documents, which will itemize for us each and every one of the documents that we have in a project. Likewise quotation, likewise codes, and likewise memos. So these are the managers. Beside each and every one of these buttons, we have the drop-down menu here. So when you have a lot of documents, they will be itemized here. A lot of quotations, what are the highlighted segments that you have, what are the concepts that you have, and what are the interpretation or your ideas, your memos, your reflection about this research. Now, first thing first, I'm going to create a project. Now, you simply go to project and then you choose new hermeneutic unit. Once you have new hermeneutic unit, that is the blank project that you are going to work with, right? So it's very much similar to the same interface that I have explained earlier. Now I want to bring you to my desktop because my desktop has one specific folder called PD's International Health. I'm going to open this document and I'm going to show you what they are, what is contained in these documents, right? First, we have an image, right? Let me preview it over here, okay? I have an image. Okay, the type is important for me to show you. This is a JPEG image. This is an Excel document because I want to demonstrate how to analyze survey data. We also have PDF documents, right? We also have MP4 video. We can also have Word document, for example, which is perfectly fine if you have DOC, DOCX, TXT. Those are the example formats of documents supported in Atlas.ti. Now, I want these documents to be added to my project, but simple adding these documents, I'll be showing you that first, and then I'm going to leave out the survey international health because I want to show you a different method how to add that to my project. Okay, now this is the project. How I add them is by simply going to documents, choose new, and I will choose add documents, right? Go back to my desktop. Here it is, and here they are. Okay, and if I don't see all my documents, for example, that MP4 video was not initially here, so I will just go to all files and all my documents will be shown. So I will highlight all except for the survey international health, and I'm going to click on open. What is it that I want Atlas.ti to do here? I want to add these documents to the Atlas.ti project by clicking on open, and the system tells me the progress. Okay, the progress says 6 files were successfully converted and added to the project. I'm going to explain to you why does it mean what does it mean that these files have been converted? Right? Now, Atlas.ti has copied the documents that I have on my desktop, converted it into a format that is understood by Atlas.ti and added to the HU project, which is actually a library located on my local COD, right? So what happened now is that from the drop-down menu, I am able to see all my documents now, right? I can also look at the PDF documents. I can also look at the MP4 video, and I can even play it inside of my Atlas.ti project. I'm going to reduce the sound. Yes, okay, right, like this. I can even play the video and choose the selection that I want to do. Okay, now adding documents is easy. Other than doing the drop-down menu here, I can also open the primary document manager, which will give me more information about my documents. For example, what type of media that I have, what are the full names of my documents, for example. So I was explaining a short while ago about families, like folders. Now, everybody is very familiar with Windows Explorer, where you can see your folders on the left-hand side and your documents on your right-hand side, right? So it works the same way, except that a family is a shared characteristics among our documents, and one family can contain sorry, it's a different, one document could belong to more than one family. Okay, for example here, documents 2 until 5, these are all World Health Organization documents. So what I'm going to do is I want to group together these 4 documents into a family of WHO documents. Okay, how to do that is I will just simply highlight and drag to the left hand side over here, and I'm going to write WHO documents. Excuse me. Okay, now what happened is a new family has been created on the left hand side. Within bracket there is a specific number, number 4. What does that mean? That is the size of that family. Click on the family name, only the documents belonging to that family will be shown on your right hand side. So this works wonderfully if you have a lot of documents and you want to group together these documents based on shared characteristics of these documents. Now I was talking about one document could be falling into many families. So okay, no problem. I find that documents 2 and 3 are 2007 documents. Meanwhile, documents 4 and 5 are 2008 documents. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to drag these documents to the left hand side here, and I'm going to say WHO documents 2007. Likewise, I can also do for P4 and P5 WHO documents 2008. Right? So it's very easy and flexible that I can group together documents based on that. What if I have additional documents? I can simply drag and drop these documents into the existing families. Okay, if you drag them into a blank area here, a new family will be created. But if you drag them to the family names, that document will fall into the existing families. Right, now at this moment, I want to advise that we should save the project by going to the diskette icon, click on save, and I want to put it onto my desktop. This is my international health project, okay, or analysis. Save it. Here it is. I'm going to close this one. And what happened is that this project has already been created, and this is the icon or shortcut for the Atlas.ti software. This one is the document, is the project that we created using Atlas.ti. Is known by the extension HPR7. Is called hermeneutic unit. It's a project. This one is the software. This is the project. This project contains some of the documents inside here. Why do I say some? It's because we have not added the Excel document. I'm going to open the Excel document just to show you how does it look. Right here is an example of a 5 I accidentally did that. I should click this button. I'm going to make it bigger. All right. These are the example response that we have obtained from 5 interview participants which have been interviewed at the community setting of at the location of interviews of community setting as well as clinic, and also in which country for the Brazil and also Botswana, and both gender, female and male. Now these are the 2 questions that we have asked our respondents. How do you describe the population that your health center serves, which requires a response from the respondents in the form of open-ended answers, because we ask them open-ended questions, we expect to get open-ended answers from the respondents. Okay. Likewise, second question, what services does your health center provide the target population? Now this is a very generic example. You can simply replace this document with any of your data. How do you get data in the form of Excel? You can either transcribe your interviews into Excel format, or you can create an online survey form where the first part of the form you ask about the demographic information of your respondents, and then you move on to the most relevant questions you want to ask in relation to your research. For example, this one, my research talks about how to describe the population. Second, what are the services provided to this population? Okay, and our respondents, they are participant 1 until 5 at community setting and clinic from Brazil and Botswana, both female and male, right? Now, this document in Excel format, before you add them to Atlas.ti, we need to add some prefixes to them. For example, when you look at participant column, there is an exclamation mark. We call this as a prefix in Atlas.ti. Likewise, the other columns also, only at the header, you will find prefixes. Now, participant exclamation mark colon. That means I am instructing Atlas.ti. Please understand, from this Excel document, I want the values contained in this column be made a primary document's name. Now, having said that, you would realize that if we have 5 participants and each of these columns will become primary document's name, by default, each of these rows will become one primary document. Primary document participant 1, primary document on participant 2, primary document participant 3, participant 4, and participant 5. So once we finish adding the prefixes, we add this Excel data into our Atlas.ti software. Now we are going to have an additional 5 documents. Earlier on, we have already added 6 documents manually: PDF, TXT, RTF, PNG, MP4, MP3, for example. Now, when we add this one survey data in the form of Excel, we give these instructions to Atlas.ti. By default, Atlas.ti will understand each row will become one primary document. So in this case, 5 new primary documents. Right? Now, some of the other prefixes that you will see, okay, but I want to emphasize on colon. What does colon mean? Okay, now if I put a colon here, I am instructing Atlas.ti, please create a family, okay, for the field name, country, plus cell value, Brazil. So country, Brazil, is a new family to be automatically created. Country, Botswana, is a new family to be automatically created. Now, any of these participants who were interviewed in Brazil will go to the family of country Brazil. Those interviewed in Botswana will go to the family of country Botswana. Okay, for example. The same case is for gender. Those female will go to one family, those male will go to another family without us having to do it manually. Okay, simply giving instructions here. Now, for the two open-ended questions, we do not put any prefixes simply because this is the qualitative segment that we want to analyze in the body of the text of the primary document in Atlas.ti. I'm going to save this document onto my desktop, which has already been saved. Okay, so I will now go back to the Atlas.ti software, which is International Health Analysis. Right, here they are. Okay, what I'm going to do is, bearing in mind the Excel document that I want to add in just now, I will simply go to Documents, New, Import Survey Data. Okay, now I click on Import Survey Data and I will go to my desktop in the PD's International Health, and here it is, the Survey International Health Excel document, which I have 5 respondents in that survey data. And I'm going to click on open. What I'm going to do, what I am actually doing now is I'm telling Atlas.ti, please add this survey data into my Atlas.ti HU project. Click on open. Alright, now it's already added. I will click on PDocs Manager and you will see that we have an additional 5 documents. Earlier on, I have only added 6 documents. But now we have an additional participant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm sorry I am unable to go to each and every one of the prefixes, okay, in the Excel document, but I believe you can simply download our trial version of the Atlas.ti software and go for the manual that you can find in the Atlas.ti software by going to Help, Quick Tour, for example, More Resources. There are more instructions about what prefixes to put into which column. Okay, now, right, participant 1. Oh, these are the list of documents. What about the list of families that you will see? Oh my, there are additional families on our left-hand side, the ones that we did not create manually, but instead we only give instructions to the Excel document just now. And when it comes to the Atlas.ti project, Atlas.ti understand them. Let me show you a demonstration. Participant 1, okay? And when I click on participant 1, the families in which participant 1 belongs to is highlighted in yellow on this left-hand side. Okay, I know that participant 1 is a female interviewed in Brazil. Participant 2 is a female interviewed in Botswana. Participant 3 is a male interviewed in Brazil. 4 male interviewed in Botswana. 5 female interviewed in Brazil. Okay, for example. So it will be easier for you. Okay, okay. Okay. Now, what if today I want to analyze only those who were interviewed in Brazil? I have demonstrated that earlier on. I simply click on the family name and only the documents falling within that family will be shown on the right hand side. Okay. I can also click on show all primary documents so that I want to see all my documents here again. Okay, that's it. Save the document and okay, I want to show you how does the data look like when you add the document survey data, right? Here is what it looks like. Now, you will see that this statement in the column of the Excel document has automatically been coded with the header name in the column. For example, this one is description of population served, services provided, their response in relation to the two open-ended questions that we have already asked earlier on, right? So all these 5 participants, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 have given their response. But do you remember that participants 1, 2, and 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are all entire respondents. What if we want to see the response? Again, I'm going to give you one example situation. I want to know what is the opinion of the respondents in relation to services provided as mentioned by male respondents. Okay, why? Because I want to see how does the male give response to this question as opposed to the female. Put another situation, I want to see those who interviewed in Brazil, whether they are speaking the same thing as what has been mentioned by those interviewed in Brazil. Okay, Brazil and Botswana. Brazil and Botswana. Brazil as opposed to Botswana. By creating families, we can create a comparison. Okay, we can look at the comparative analysis between the pattern of discussion by one family as opposed to another. How to do that is, I will simply go to analysis, query tool. Here it is. Okay, for the services provided, when you double click on the services provided, the active query will be shown middle here and your answer will be shown on the bottom right hand side. These are all our respondents. Create then output, click on the printer icon, choose full content. Right, now the system says I want to send it to the editor. Here it is. I'm going to make it bigger so that you will see, look at it. Okay. Aha, now the report says there are 5 quotations found for the query of services provided and there is no active filter. What that means is the query, okay, the quotation is generated from the entire documents in the project. Okay, for example, this comes from participant 1, participant 2, participant 3, participant 4. Now let's do another one. What if I want services provided as mentioned by those interviewed in Brazil only? I will click on the scope button and I will double click on Brazil. The answer will be shown here. Here is the active query and here is the scope. Click on the printer icon and here it is. It will only capture information for those interviewed in Brazil. Now, this query report is very different from the one that we have generated earlier just now. There are 3 quotations found for the query of services provided within the filter of country Brazil, meaning these are what the people in Brazil have informed us about a certain subject matter. Click close. What about on Botswana? It's the same thing. Okay, click on that. Oops, I already showed that just now. Okay. What about Brazil? Just now we created for Botswana. Now we want to create for Brazil. Okay, content, editor. Okay, here it is. Okay, photos in Brazil. Okay, now can you imagine without using families, how do you categorize your qualitative statements by your respondents based on their shared characteristics? You have to be creative then, put into specific folders, specific files, specific tagging colors, but in Atlas.ti everything is kept within the memory of the software so that we will be able to just give instructions or give a query and Atlas.ti will send an output for that. Right. Now I'm going to return back to the first document. What was it? This is an image. I find, now we are done with the first part of the webinar. The first part is to create create project, add documents, create families, and work on survey data. Now the next part is I want to talk about segmenting the data. We have this entire data, for example, an image. This image contains a lot of objects in it. And these objects I want to do a quotation out of it, meaning I want to highlight certain statements. For example, this one is teacher giving computer lessons, right? So what I'm going to do is I will highlight first, like you're highlighting an image, right? Or highlighting, okay, right? So here it is. Now I'm going to right click coding, enter code name. Here is a teacher teaching computer lessons. Click on OK. Almost magically, this quotation has been shown that what is the code teacher teaching computer lessons, and here are computers. Right? Oops, sorry, coding. And the coding, yeah, that was what we wanted to do. Computers. See, you will see how easy it is. You simply highlight a segment and give a code name to it. Now, coming back to my PowerPoint. What I did just now was we determine what are the parts in the data and we generalize it and we say, yeah, this one talks about computer lesson, the other one talks about computers only. But what if we already have some things that we want to look for in our data? Okay, we are properly guided by certain theories or points very relevant to our research. We call it as deductive coding. When you have a clear framework for your research, you deduce the data to fall under which one or more of the components in your framework. But what if you don't have a framework? The first method we call is deductive. The second method we call it as inductive. Inductive, you start off without any specific specific uh, concepts in mind, okay? But instead, when you are reading through your data, watching to or listening to your data, you generalize that and say, this applies to my case, okay? What is the significance of introducing the deductive and inductive dialogues in Atlas.ti? Is because we are not forcing you to do it purely deductive. We are also not forcing you to do purely deductive or inductive only. Okay, depending on your research questions, what Atlas.ti has is for you to pick up the ones that are relevant for your case and you apply it to your research. Okay, now going back to the Atlas.ti project. Image documents. What about PDF documents? It's exactly the same thing. Okay. Poverty reduction strategy to reach the poor. Okay, again, it's the same case. Coding and the code name, poverty reduction strategies. Okay. Okay. Here it talks about impoverished people, coding, enter code name, barriers to health system. That is what it talks about. So it's very easy. I like to mention this many times to my workshop participants that how you see things traditionally, meaning you hold a piece of paper in your hand and you segmentize it by highlighting and you write short notes on the right hand side, left hand side, bottom, in between, for example. That is exactly how you will see in Atlas.ti as well. The main window here is our data, and a smaller window on your right hand side is where all your codes will appear, right? Likewise, here it talks about, okay, strategy again, okay, community-based polytechnic, meaning here is health strategy, okay. Right. Save it. Okay, now what if we have something in MP4 format? This is a little bit tricky because now there are a lot of things that you can do with your video. You can play them, pause them, next, fast forward, for example. Okay, if in a document or an image you will highlight from left to right or right to left, in a video or MP3 or MP4, MP3 audio or MP4 videos, this is the bar that you will be doing the highlighted segment. Okay, what I do is I will simply highlight and I will put a code name to it. For example, the class begins. Students came to computer lessons. Okay, right. You can also play that part only that part selection. For example, now this is very useful, especially that when a movie is moving, okay, you find you want to now find out more information about the village condition, but because a video is a moving thing, you can pause the video and you can analyze the image behind. But by using one function in Atlas.ti, for example, you can do a screenshot of this video frame and add it as a primary document. So you will see this icon here, the computer icon, the camera icon. Click on it and you will see something flashing on the body of the video, and you will go to the last slide, which is last primary document, which is an image. This is a PNG image, okay, where you will be able to highlight, for example, these are houses. Oops, sorry. Right click, coding, the code name, condition of houses. Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay. Right, here it is. Now, where do all these codes go? They will go to the codes manager. Okay, for example, like this. Okay. This is very helpful. Okay. All right. So all our code names are over here. All right. And not only that, the next column to these code names, for example, they are referring to how many quotations are there for that particular code. These are the groundedness, how many quotations that I have for that particular code. Okay. Now, I've shown you how to do inductive coding, but what about deductive coding? These are the codes that I have in the system, and when I do the reading, I find that this part, I'm going to make it bigger, this part talks about health education through home visits, condition of houses, okay? Infectious disease is a barriers to health system. Uh, Different cultural traditions, barriers to health system, for example. Educate people at their homes, uh, condition of houses again. Okay, right. So you will see now there are quite a number of codes which have already been assigned to some of our quotations that we have here. Okay, that is what we call as deductive coding. This deductive is simply drag and drop from the code manager to the highlighted segment. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about is auto-coding. Auto-coding means I want Atlas.ti to find for me a specific word or fragment of a word and to tell me how many times it appears, and not only that, it must show me where it is and it must tell me which quotation has been linked to a specific code. I'm going to do this codes coding, auto-coding. This is the menu that we will go. Codes coding, auto-coding. For example, I'm going to use the word health. The instruction is, please find the keyword health in all my documents, and once found, please create quotation or do the highlighting on a sentence which contains that word, and to link that quotation to a specific code name, health autocode. Okay, for example, very easy. So now the default is you have confirm always. So when you click on start, Atlas will bring you to the first sentence containing the word health. If you find it is important, you will code it. If you find that it is not important, you will skip it. Okay, code it, skip it. It's a name of a job. Okay, designation, skip it. This could be important. Code it, skip it. Okay, so what you do is when you do the confirm always option, when there is a check mark, it means you want Atlas.ti to confirm with you each and every time there is an occurrence of the word health. So what you do is, if you don't want to confirm always, you just simply uncheck this box and you click on start. The option or the result will be shown here. You will see this circle that I am making. Now, Atlas.ti tells me that there are 249 quotations which has been assigned to the code. So you will see all health autocode, health autocode, and also in the code manager you will see that there are quite a large number of groundedness. Okay. Next, I want to talk about barriers to the health system. I find that I want to talk about, or I want to present a diagram relation in response to my findings for barriers to the health system. What are the barriers to the health system? So I'm going to right click and I have the option whether to create or to call back the quotations in form of textual, or I can also have the option to call back all the quotations in form of a mind mapping. It's like mapping out ideas. First thing first, I'm going to show you how to do mapping of ideas in a diagram format. Okay, I'm going to right click on the code manager and I'm going to choose open network view. Now this is the first object in the network view. Okay, barriers to the health system. What is it that I said just now? I want to call back all my quotations for the code of barriers to the health system. So I will simply right click, import neighbors, import quotations. Here they are, right? So these are the quotations talking about barriers to the health system. Number one, different cultural traditions. Number two, major barriers such as weak health system, inadequate number of healthcare staff, challenge of financing care for impoverished people, and also infectious disease. Now, although all these talks about the same thing, which is barriers to the health system, it seems that infectious disease got nothing to do with different cultural traditions. Okay, it is actually contradictory to what is the idea propounded by this person or this author. So what I'm going to do is I find that this quotation contradicts this quotation. So what I do is I will click on the quotation. I will say red dot. Bring the red dot and drop it onto the first box, and I will choose whatever relationship that I want, which is relevant, which is now contradicts. What does contradict mean? Okay, this opinion is contradictory to this opinion. Okay, and did you do the arrow? No, you simply drag and drop, but you also put a label to it, which is contradicts. What about this one? This one explains this one. This one also explains this one. Example of a mapping of ideas. I like to use mapping of ideas very much, simply because it will put a very large canvas in front of me, and I can put all my ideas. It's a matter of arrangement. Okay, save it, and I can also save it as a graphic file because I can insert it into Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint for presentation purposes. Here it is, various to health system. You see an image that we can insert into our other applications. Okay. Right. So here it is. What about the textual output just now? Same code name, barriers to the health system. I will go to right click output quotation for that selected code. Yes. Okay. Okay. Oops, sorry. There it is. Atlas.ti tells me that it's ready with the output. Click on editor, and here it is. Okay, report 3. 3 quotations for the code of barriers to the health system, which is from document 3, document 8, and document 8. Okay, right now we are approaching the end of the discussion. I want to talk about a security feature about how to back up our projects. Backing up projects is like zipping or unzipping our projects plus documents and put it into a safe place. This is a issue. The issue is not secure by reason that all your documents are not there. Okay, but instead it is outside of the issue in my library, which is located at your local drive C or D. Okay, so you will click on save the project first, and then you can go to project save copy bundle. It's very easy. Project save copy bundle. And you want to create that bundle. I want to put it on the desktop, and it's done. Copy bundle finish and save. Close this one, minimize this one, minimize this one. So you will see that this is the shortcut to Atlas.ti project. This is the icon, and this is the copy bundle, which is for our safety reasons. Now, before we go and before I open some Q&A, I thank you for your attentiveness in the class today. Okay, first thing first, I want to talk about our Atlas.ti official website at www.atlas.ti.com. I believe you have landed somehow or another on this website when you registered for your demo webinar today. Okay, there are a lot of information that you can get. Even when you scroll down, you will find a link to download free trial. For those of you who do not have Atlas.ti yet in your computers, you can click on download free trial here. Okay, but the free trial version is limited in terms of the project size. For example, 10 documents only, 50 quotes, 100 quotations, for example. If you require more than that, a project without limitations, you can consider to order our full version of the license, whether students or educational or government or uh, commercial version. Now, just because you joined our webinar today, I am happy to inform you that whosoever wishes to purchase Atlas.ti software, you can simply contact me because I have discount coupon codes to be given out to you. Okay, right. Okay, now thank you very much for staying till the end. I want to call upon anyone who have questions, so you can simply ask that questions while I show you the last blog, which is last website, which is the Atlas.ti blog. The URL is at blog.atlas.ti.com. Okay, so you can scroll down, go to blog.atlas.ti.com, scroll down, and you will see a lot of articles written by our users explaining about uh, HSCI. Right? So, any questions? If you have questions, so you can just ask because it will uh, be shown in front of me. Okay, if you have not downloaded the Atlas.ti handout, you can simply click on the uh, handout chat menu on your GoToWebinar control panel. Okay, any questions at all? If you have any questions, I will be very much excited to help you however that I can. Or you can also email me after this if you don't feel like writing to me now. Okay, what will happen as soon as we close the session today is the system will send you a link for you to give a feedback as to today's session. Okay, and please take some time to go through it because we want to improvise, okay, whatever that we teach. Okay, any questions at all? Okay, I want to show my email address again just in case you feel like writing me an email. Okay, any questions? All right, we have one question. How do I download the recorded session? Thank you, Tembakile. I will be emailing you after this with a link to this webinar recording for those who joined our session today. Thank you for asking. Any other questions? Anyone who is interested to join? Anyone who is interested to purchase the full version, you can just email me and I will reply with a 10% discount coupon code from the published rate. So if a published rate is $100, applying the coupon code is going to be $90 only. Okay? These are example of prices for license. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, everyone. So just in case you have any questions after this, you can simply email me at ani.munira@atlas.ti.com. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. I look forward to receive your emails. Okay, bye-bye.